Typically you get a belt sander or a disc. This is a combo machine. It's got a belt here and then a disc here. But I don't have the disc on it right now. It's been so long since I used this thing. There we go. This thing tightens it back up now. The important thing, you got an adjuster over here. You got to keep it in the middle of the wheel or it'll drift to one side or the other. And that's kind of difficult to keep it centered sometimes. You can see where the wheel's been cutting into here. This is a real old machine. By the design, the aesthetics of the machine, it looks like it's from the 50s, but they probably kept the design up into the 70s. So, all right, now the fun part. It's been so long, I don't remember where the switch is. Normally there's a table here. You put your part down on the table, but because I'm doing radiuses, I'm just going to be free-handing it on the front, and I'll also be using this right here to do that inside radius. That's why this is a good piece to learn on, because now see, some people will either have this or something like this or a disc sander or a combo. They'll all do the same thing. Okay, this is where we'll dress it up. Get rid of some of those nasty cuts we made on the saw. I'm going to be using a belt sander with the top off. This allows me to get inside the radiuses and grind, whereas with a flat disc type sander, you wouldn't be able to reach them. If you've only got a disc sander, that's fine. You just won't be able to get into some of the areas that you can here, and you'll have to work them by hand later on. We'll do some hand work on this to show how it's done. But if you've got a belt sander and you can take the top off, you've got this nice radius here that you can use to get into areas that you normally wouldn't be able to get into. On a disc sander or a grinder, a pedestal grinder, you do the same thing, but obviously these inside radiuses would be a little tough to get to, so we'll show you that later on. We're going to go drill holes later on and stuff, but I'm just trying to get the shape right. Later on, when it's all completely done, I'll probably take some hand tools and go over it, some air grinders, whatnot. I'm just trying to make sure this radius is flowing. It's hard to see with these damn lights of yours. Well, I can't believe that didn't bow any worse than it did. Normally when you cut something real thin like that, by the time you're done, it's bowed real bad.
What are you doing about that?
Bend it back. But see that? You hear it tapping? It bowed up just a tiny bit on the tip. That's not even enough to mess with. But typically it'd be bowed all the way across and you'd be able to rock it back and forth. Okay, it's relatively easy to cut arcs or radiuses on thin material because it's a little bit more forgiving when you try to twist the part from side to side to get it to follow the arc. There's very little room for play in there. Obviously, you can cut this thickness, which is 1/8 of an inch, or you can go up to 1 inch or 2 or 3 inches thick with the same saw. It's slower cutting because you're removing a lot more material, and it's a lot less forgiving when you try to follow contours or radiuses because there's more limiting through the thickness of the material on the blade being able to twist from side to side. And that's it. Okay, we've got it all sawn out. Our rough grinding work to get the shape right. It's obviously got a lot of burrs on it now. We'll deburr it to get those off. Just a die grinder with a 60 grit pad on it. There you go. Done deal.